Mike rolling. Mike rolling. Mike rolling. I think. Hey, rolling. We're rolling. Yo, what up? Welcome.
What's up, guys?
That's how we do it.
All right, cool.
Jumping in. I'm not sure what we're calling it. We're the judges, though.
TEL Talks.
To my left, introduce yourself. Judge on the podcast, introduce yourself.
Yeah. All right, cool. TEL Talks, No Catching Feelings, Joe Buck, Arawak.
Uncle Catfish. Ask about me. It's easier that way.
All right, sweet. So, shout out to East Coast Kicks and Classic Souls for being our hosts tonight. Real quick, let's run through the event last week. Shout out to Tyson. Anyone else want to give shout out to? We got a couple people. Thanks, Brightfield Boxing Academy.
I want to shout out all the other judges that were there too. Just that was great.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
And all the battlers who were willing to get into the ring too.
For sure. Atlantic Livestream, Matt Frazier. Yeah, shout out to everybody for making the event happen. It was really dope.
Shout out to the crowd, I think, for being a good crowd. And, they weren't stepping on people. And they weren't, they were participating well, but they weren't getting in battlers' way. I hate when that happens. It's like, let them do their thing.
It's a good
I thought they were
balance.
good. Bring a friend next time, too.
There was a little people who were a little too hype about the fight in the back. We had to tell them to keep it down.
Well, yeah,
I was
yeah.
Also, fully respect the actual, but also the fight was pretty hype, right? So,
I mean,
maybe we're gonna have to have a green room where people give boxing tips, so we don't do it in the middle of the battle. But other than that, I thought it was a really good time. I had fun. Although, obviously, it was 10 years ago that we were doing these before, so a lot has changed, but a lot of it was exactly the same. So it was pretty dope. So first battle, who wants to set it off for?
You want to kick us off, Uncle Cap?
No, you go ahead.
All right. So that first battle, that was Chow and Bombay, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually like that battle a lot. Chow always comes with strong flow, but one thing he did specifically that I enjoyed is Joey Bones was trying to give him a hard time or something while he was in the ring, and he stomped to Joey Bones. It was like, shoo, get out of here in the middle of his round.
Yeah.
And then picked it up and kept rolling with it.
Yeah.
But having that humor right in the middle, the crowd enjoyed that a lot, no doubt.
I really like the sort of different style that I saw was I like the float that I got from Chow. Sometimes I think it just floated a little long. It was just we were watching it was literally a sort of butterfly, sting like a bee, where it was where's he kind of going? What's he doing? I'm following him. And then it would just be maybe one or two, and I'm I'm going to stay here. And then when the shot came, it was you were kind of ready for it. It wasn't turn enough on that sort of meander. But I like the difference. You get a lot of guys that just follow something they saw before. And I think there's something where he changes up the pace, and he keeps it a little metaphoric and weird. And I think when rap has an element of weird in a good way, it's you're unpredictable. You're not really sure where that's going.
Especially because a lot of those bars you haven't heard anywhere before because it's weird. You know what I mean? That would stick out to you and it's fresh.
For sure.
Yeah. To be honest, I kind of still to this part, I think the first part was way too loose. Bombay was actually nice. The kid was just really unconfident. He didn't really look
out of his territory, new to the whole region.
And props for him for stepping up and stuff. But at the end of the day, I just think he has to, he has to get credit. Like I said, on a puncher's scorecard, if you look back, bar for bar, he was throwing a lot of more consistent bars. Because at the end of the day, I said it then, I'll say it now. Pat even said anything I don't know if he was freestyling or what it was, but the first part didn't even sound like it was rhyming for a lot of it. You know what I mean? It was but the fucked up thing was as soon as he started, you knew he won. You know what I mean?
Right.
2 bars in, I was all right, he wins. And then that's why I was for 45 seconds, I was listening and be not good. So I was fuck, how am I gonna give him the dub when he's not killing it right now? But he's, it was still, a convincing victory because at the end of the day, it's not just about bars, and that's really what I think a lot of people in these battles came down to. A lot of talented writers, but there was a few good performances, and at the end of the day, I think he outperformed the lyrics that he wrote. But the back half of that shit were some of my favorite bars. The giant Andre, Lingerie, Dust You Like Pompeii. He started cooking at the end, and at the end, for me, I was all right, cool, but how come you freestyle garbage for 45 seconds before that, So
and there's also that Firelight
too much.
Too,
I felt
right?
too long. I would have liked to go back to the meander, as I'm calling it.
Well, yeah, I guess, and that was my thoughts on it. I was a judge on that battle, and I gave it to Chow, and I still stand behind that. But I do think, I said, it was a lot closer than it needed to be because, legitimately, as soon as he started rapping, I was all right, my guy's got it. But there was a lot of like filler in that shit.
Sure.
And if he was up against someone that was maybe a little more prepared or a little more confident or like matched his performance, I think like it might have gone the other way. Because if Buddy on the other side was a little more animated and was doing the same sort of thing and was kind of like, you know, performing,
Yeah.
I think like really like if he had rose to the occasion or whatever, it might have gone the other way.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that's kind of
All
my
right.
opinion on that.
Other
You know?
small things that I'd say about that battle too is you're right, like that Pompeii line was nice, but immediately following it was like, oh, that was fire, magma, hot lava. It kind of took the wind out of the sails of that line and disrupted the flow a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I will say, like, Chal, kind of similar to Narco Skeptic and Anubis, while they're very good at moving around, it's best to have that directed. So if you're walking around in circles, it's a little bit distracting, but that's so powerful if you're able to do that footwork and that hand performance in the battle and it's directed towards your opponent versus, you know, having lots of movement but without the direction.
Yeah, I agree with that.
For sure. So it was like a 1-round battle. There wasn't really like a lot to really go off on that. That was the impressions, I guess, that we got in the.
It was a good jump off.
I do.
And
think,
it was
I think
entertaining,
I think it
too.
was.
It was a
cool.
good jump
Yeah.
off. I think it got the room moving.
I was like, why the fuck are we doing a 1-round battle? And then like, yo, he's fighting a person later. And I was like, all right, cool. He's got a lot of shit on his mind. So you know, at the end of the day, props for Chell for stepping up into like the actual ring at the end of the day. But moving on to that one, Narco Skeptic versus Complex, right? This is
a big battle. That's
Real-
one that's
real
quite
diff-
talked about.
yeah.
too.
who judged this one on the card?
I would judge it.
I think I didn't judge that one on the card.
Judged it.
You know, I was in the background.
Oh,
but-
Okay, so I was on
No, sorry, I wasn't on. No, I wasn't on this one.
None of us judged that one.
No.
All right.
Oh shit! No, I did judge that one for sure. No, I was on the card. I wasn't sure if I just kept those thoughts to myself or.
I was just yelling in Dub's ear. But stuff. I wasn't actually judging it.
So I think like there's a mix of us. Like I judged that first one.
Yeah, me too.
You were not a judge on that first one. So I think there's a
Yeah.
good mix.
Yeah.
You guys can pick apart my decision. We'll pick apart each other's if we disagree. But I think some of these were pretty unanimous, right? But let's talk about this one because there was a lot of back and forth on this one.
Sure.
Right?
Two totally different.
No, it
approaches.
was very
like,
different.
Two totally different approaches.
And I will say
Which I
that
kinda
like,
like.
in the end, I did end up giving it to Complex, but 2-1. Right? Like I thought that first round was a lot closer than a lot of people gave it credit for.
Yeah.
Narco Skeptic has a lot of great writtens. It's just about the delivery of some of those writtens and like looking at his opponent and rapping like a battle rapper instead of like a rapper, right?
Yeah.
And then that second round, you know, I thought that Narco took it. I don't think that Complex actually won that second round.
Yeah, honestly, like Complex, they were so different vocally and lyrically. It was like I guess when I look at battles, there's like two things that I'm looking for. I'm looking for like the delivery,
Yeah.
which is like everything, presence to crowd reaction and interaction and stuff like that, to like wordplay, which would be like, you know, everything you're saying, right? How you're saying stuff and what you're saying, right? And they were both so different, but like if you broke it down, what they were saying, I think Narco had some of like the dirtiest, weird, like over the head punchlines.
He had some
of
real
the
flow.
whole night. Like and there was like just some sneaky heater bars the whole time, and I think that he just didn't know how to actually bring them to them in a combat kind of style.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
No, yeah, he stepped all over himself. Like getting them out, he'd say stuff and then be drawn to the next thing that was cool. But I was
Yeah.
like, you don't let it breathe, and you're not aiming at anybody.
I kinda-
it's hard to
Yeah.
to feel that.
100%. I was kind of talking to him afterwards, and I was like, it was kind of like you just like jab, and like they were all landing.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
sure.
But if you like set a couple of those up and then uppercut them, like they were right there because he was setting them up. Like the crowd was catching some of the shit he was saying.
Yeah.
It was like,
And there's a lot of quotables from it too.
Oh.
I always look at that after
Sneaky,
a battle
yeah.
rap. Like
Yeah.
I remember a lot of specific things that Narco Skeptic said. Like for instance about Zelmop Complex sounds like a pharmaceutical breakthrough. Like that was a great line, and he had a lot like that.
He had like that crazy one about just like the hating Migos and complaining about the world. Like,
Yeah.
Offset and different shit. Like it was super smart bars, but at the end
It
of the day,
was.
like even if you just like looked him in the face and been like, "Yo, this is the smart shit I'm saying to you,"
Yeah.
it would have landed way harder.
With that battle was one of the things that stuck out for me is like something I look for is how you're affecting your opponent. It's all well and
Yeah,
good what you do, and I think that's all you can control really. But I want to see you buckle them a little, like make them bothered.
Yeah.
That both of those guys had what I would, if we're talking boxing, we're in a ring, was like they had hard jaws, both of them, or were like they both took it really well, where it did not bother them what the other guy was saying. Like even when Narco was getting eaten alive a little bit, it seemed like he would be like. He had this awesome way, which I appreciate when you're taking it, to kind of go, like, ha, a good one. Like,
Yeah.
laughing at it. Like, both of them had that chin where it was hard to shake them.
It's nice
Like,
to
it
see
wouldn't have
that.
mattered even, I think, if Narco had been able to deliver a little better. Both of them were guys that, like, it's hard to knock them off their center.
And the difficult thing about battling Complex too is he has fantastic delivery. You know what I mean? Like, the guy battles like a rapper. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, I feel like even though that second round that he had some weaker writtens, he goes off of that delivery and that great presence so much that it carries him through.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why I say, like, they were very much like his strength was a lot of, but also, like, I don't want to discredit because he also had some sneaky.
He had a lot of great
Oh,
bars.
yeah.
There's no doubt about that. I'm talking about the second round.
I know, and that was you know a pretty good battle in general. I just think that like the what really gave Complex the edge was his confidence. You know, he was super confident, but also messed up in that and have to bring it up. You know, if you're that confident, you also should have your money. You know, this is a put your money where your mouth is league. You know, Tal talks, no catching feelings. That is the thing, right? So anyone that doesn't bring their money is a buster. It's certified. But yeah, there's new rules in place for that, so we're not going to worry about it too much.
We'll get to that.
But
later.
that honestly, like I said, that was a close battle. And I do think that Narco was probably one of the guys that surprised me the most because, like, looking at him, I didn't really expect it to be. I didn't really expect either of them to be kind of what they were. You know, for some reason, when Complex stepped up, I thought he was just going to be like, bah, 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 and just like that super slow kind of bang, bang. And they were just heavy body shots. That's all he did. He just landed heavy shot after heavy shot. And they weren't even, some of the bars weren't even that fire, but he just said them like he meant it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it worked, so.
They almost had each other's the inverse strengths and weaknesses.
That's exactly-
in a weird way,
that's a
in
great
weird
way
way.
to put it.
Kind of what I'm
Together in
saying.
a tag team battle, it could be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do think Narco should come back and should step up, and just also, you know, like I said, look directly at the. I don't know who I'm talking to. I'll talk to him. So, look right at somebody and tell them what you're gonna do. Because at the end of the day, the bars were good. They just didn't connect, and maybe try and perform to the crowd a little bit. He was working the judges and doing different stuff. Performance, you know, that's a big part out of this.
Yeah.
I will say, too, that, like, I mentioned on the TEL group, Narco was quite similar to Anubis, and, like, their strengths and weaknesses. So that's a matchup I would definitely like to see going down the road, because both of them had a lot of very creative writtens. Both of them had a lot of decent schemes and an amount of research that they brought to the battle. And I love seeing research when it comes to a battle versus generic rhymes any day of the week, right? But
For sure.
it was the performance aspect and the not looking at the opponent, and that was just a little bit of lackluster, I found.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I guess the next battle of the night was also very tight.
Yeah.
I was on the judging panel for that, as I believe you were.
It was, yeah.
SKB Jim West.
Yeah.
Big battle.
You know, and like I did say, I had Jim 2-0, and I'll say, like, I do really think he was killing it. I kind of, no cap, I felt bad for him a little bit because he was like, nah, I went off default because it was so close. You know, that choke kind of did seal it a lot for me. There's a big thing about preparation when you have this much time. She was absolutely killing it. I take nothing
Yeah,
away
she
from
was.
her. But
That's where I feel a little bit weird.
and I felt bad for both in a way because she choked and that made him win by default, and he didn't want to like beat her in some sort of, you know, shitty way. But for me, like I said, rebuttals is a huge thing. He started each one of his. That's why you want to go second. You know what I mean? You go first because like you don't want to be first because then people can hear your shit. And she got off on him on like being a PC, and he rebutted about, you know, I swear I did my time, and then she had that like a good bar about his name. You're gonna see West Jet, and then he rebutted that like she was judging in a battle that like someone said that on before.
With Braille.
And for me, like I judging the battle, I'm listening. I'm like, oh, that West Jet, that's a hard line. And then for him to flip it, I'm like, oh, boom, that's like -2. That's like a big counter shot. You know what I mean? Like that can flip around. And the battle was so tight in the first place.
True.
Those are just things that I thought had it kind of like had me edging towards him. I know people were mad at the fat jokes and they said it's like kind of generic or whatever, but they were fucking hitting. Those were.
There's always something.
Those are hitting fat, and they're personal.
Yeah.
And like that's, you know, like they're not personal. You know what I mean? You say that shit to like a skinny person, it's generic. You say that shit to a bigger person, it's personal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wrote that shit for her. They were snapping off, and I take nothing away from her. But people said like, you know, he was kind of generic or whatever. But I think like
I think it's generic, man.
I think it's
I think
because
that was
people
closer than I even judged it. I still think about that one. Like, I don't know. The choke is the thing. Like, it's this box that if it's not checked, I don't know how you win. And I think I'm still there. But man, that was close. And
I feel like that first round was very close.
she'd finished
but I feel
her
like the
round.
second round where she did that impression, clear cut. You know, she definitely took the second round.
I completely disagree. Like I think like she maybe took the first with that multi. That was a room rattler for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like that room rattler about like up his ass. That was crazy. That was a room shaker. But his bars in the second about her name, like
Yeah.
I hit the table and shit. I'm not supposed to. Yeah.
No, that was good.
Sorry for the podcast.
I knew you were
Yeah.
going to say.
But like his shit about like you know, you didn't think about longevity when you plotted it out initially. Like those were some of the hardest bars of the battle, and like where he like broke down her name on like SKB and different shit. That was, and people talk generic. That was like crazy personal. That was like
great, yeah.
I wanted to run more of that.
So I don't know. For me, like that's the thing. I thought he was kind of snapping off. He was his first round. Her first round was a room shaker, and after she did that, he started cutting her. And you know what I mean. And people were just like, oh, like legitimately after her first round, everyone was like, oh, that's it, he's done. And then he starts hitting shit. And by halfway through the first round, people were like, this is uncomfortable. You know, like it wasn't like people felt bad, bro. Like they were hitting. They were like mean, but it was on point. Some of the fashion statement with the buttons busting off, like bro, those were good fat jokes.
I think he should. I told him after the battle. I think that I do think if he had found a way to keep the fat joke as like the finishing punch, like leave it, don't touch it all around, and instead of doing the thing around 90 seconds, like just boring to me. Leave that as the bang, like, oh, and by the way, you fat. Like, that just ends the room, and like, you just piled everything, and like, I put a boulder on the top of the pebbles I laid all around. I would have preferred, I just think, raising the bar, because like, they were to me, I think calling a person that's overweight fat is easy. It is generic. It really is.
Yeah, there's a lot of reference
It's the thing you don't
material
need to know
that you
anything
use,
about them to look at the picture and be like, hey, look, they're big.
Yeah, but the whole thing about her like being a big girl, like he did that in some other shit too about her like being a grown woman. Like he had some schemes. I thought it was, you know.
That Precious bar was pretty dope too. Like there were some
There were good ones, but
there's no
that
doubt.
means he can write. It's just I'd like to see more of that. I don't know.
Look, all I'm saying is she had that big multi in the second round when she was doing. I thought the impression was kind of. It was funny that he was wearing the toque. Like you got to get rid of the B Rabbit Eminem fucking working in the factory look with his boots and the toque. That's kind of dusty or whatever. She called him out on it, but like I don't know, the way she ended her second verse wasn't really strong. Like I remember it was just kind of like it just ended. And we're just like okay,
yeah.
And then with the mix up, I think she probably knew at that point that she fucked up. That's probably why she just kind of trailed off. But like the second didn't finish hard, and then he was still tearing her apart. I just thought he like was really, really mean and like wrote some like really like shit and like from the whole thing, and he just ripped her apart. And I think like she said in the start, she was like, he asked if we were going ham or going buck, which I was just like, yeah, go buck. That's up. But she asked like, are we going buck? Or he asked that, and then he did. He was just really mean to her, and I think like people go like, oh, those are fat jokes, just whatever. Like if he was a fat dude, people would have been up for it because he was cutting her down, and it was it was a battle. It was a battle, and I don't know. I'm just saying I wasn't mad at him for using that angle because at the end of the day, like
well, you can use any angle.
I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying I think it wasn't very difficult for him.
Yeah,
that's all.
For sure.
I think he's better than that. Like he could be better in the way he writes it, not hitting on that. Just.
But I guess what I'm saying is I felt like the first, if anything, was close because she had that room shaker and he was maybe being too much on the fat stuff. He took the second with all that initial stuff for me. Like I thought like the name he broke it down and all that stuff. That was some of the best writing some of the night. And then her, like I said, her second verse didn't really hit because she trailed off and then she choked in the third. So like for me, that was kind of it, right?
If you look at the room reaction though to her second verse, that's one area where I disagree because she had way more crowd reactions in the second than Jim had. And even though I appreciated a lot of Jim's bars, if you listen to the reactions of the crowd,
I think they went far more. I think they went over
100%. They were way over.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
And that's a big thing
so
about
it's different.
We talk about that. It's the room reaction.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if your shit's flying. Nobody understands.
But it's 100%. It's like winning the room versus winning online, right?
If you're doing a battle where it's like we're gonna watch the video and see who's hyped, but in a judge battle, we're like I'm the judge, I'm listening to your shit. So like if you're nice and your bars are on point, like you're gonna. That's what I'm saying. It's important for us to do something. It's like for me, if you know I'm judging your battle, you know, like I'm looking for rebuttals, right? Yeah. You might like if you just even get one off, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there are very few rebuttals that night, which was shocking.
So for me, like that's the thing. I think in a judge battle, that stuff does matter. So it didn't go over my head because I was like paying real close attention, and I did feel like the quality of the writing was crazy. Maybe like people were, you know, more gassed because she pulled the toque out of her pocket, but like that didn't really faze me that much. You know what I'm saying? Like that's cool. Props are cool, but you know.
No, I know what you mean.
At the end of the day, she killed it. Like I'm taking nothing away from her. I think she's dope. I would like to see more of her.
I think that was SKB's best battle she's ever done too. And I will say that this was not peak Jim West because I've seen Jim West do a lot of battles before. I saw him write 12 hilarious lines about the fact that a guy wiped his nose on camera, and then he just kept calling him like Boogie Monster and a bunch of schemes with that. Like he's a creative writer, and he has a lot of bars. But for whatever reason, it wasn't peak Jim West that way.
I'd like to see both of them again. Maybe not necessarily together. If it was together in some sort of sense, that'd be cool. But I think like it'd be cool to see them just like what they do next because I think both of them showed that they got definitely like top tier talent as far as like entertaining. That was one of the best battles of the night for sure. And it was kind of tough to judge in that sense. the choke, I guess, made it easy, but still, like I said, I think it's still kind of whack to do it. That's kind of why I gave him the credit and said, yo, I had you 2-0, just because I didn't want him to feel like that was the choke. Because I did think that what he was doing was snapping off, and it just did suck that, you know, she didn't get to finish. Because I'd like to see her. And same thing, the battle that never happened. What's her face? Serenade that snapped off Henri. Took
That really threw me. I was like, what?
Me too.
Yo.
Me too.
If you want to get your bars off, that's totally cool, and I understand what happened. But like, maybe, you know, it's cool. It was actually, he was a really good sport about it, and actually also, if he was judging the battle, I think he kind of had no. Just
He did have some good bars.
second round, man, he killed.
It was all rebuttal.
It was all rebuttal. That's all you can do. It's 100%.
So yeah, shout out to her for coming prepared. I don't know, like, guys, show up to the. Is that guy out? Is he like out of the league now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
If you no show, like, you're done. If you don't have your money, like, there's no point in pretending. This is a real thing.
Yeah.
You know, people take their time. They're putting effort into this, so definitely don't, you know, fuck around with stuff like that, because that's stupid. But shout out to her for coming prepared. The women were good. Is I guess what I'm saying. It was nice to see. That was one thing the first Elements League had a little bit of, and you know, that was cool. We were one of the first battle leagues ever in history, so we also were one of the first battle leagues with women. So it's just cool to also see, you know, women back on the card.
Yeah, more involvement
in 2020. Bang! It's like, that's crazy to say. You know, it's been a long time. But yeah, so shout out to the girls. But yeah, that was highly contested. I still say Jim West.
Oh yeah.
I agree. I had it 1-1 before the choke, admittedly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I was writing everything down, and I wasn't judging that battle, but I had it 1-1 before SKB choke.
It's crazy that we were both 1-1, but like completely flipped. But like, that was for me,
Yeah,
100%.
that's right. That's the same. The chokes that what did it, and I was like, it was very even. I'm not even sure how it really decided at that point. I don't know if I think of it totally like
It's
rounds,
but
it is like
rounds,
a
right? Yeah.
sort of. But I was, it was very even at that point. And then it was like, well, this is over. But it's tough. Like, it's tough for both of them.
I was just really impressed in that second round, because like, really, she let off that huge multi in the first. Everyone was like, boom, he's done. And then he like was cooking, and then the second round she does that impression of him, but then he like ripped her apart. No one was getting his shit, you know. People were just like standing there blinking at him, and I was like, yo, this guy's snapping right now. So I gave him props for like powering through that. You know, there was a lot of pressure on both of them, I guess is what I'm saying. She, you know, unfortunately cracked in that moment and mixed some stuff up, but I give him credit for delivering the rounds. It may not have been, like I said, his best performance, but it was one of the best performances of the night.
Oh, there's no doubt about
It's
that.
one of my
Like, Jim's performances are always
one of
good.
the more
It wasn't
entertaining
his
battles.
best.
Like, yeah,
For sure. Next battle. What was the last one? Don, and it was who judged that one? Were you on that card?
I was too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on that card.
Okay.
Were you?
I know.
No.
I was supposed to judge the fight, which was not very hard.
Oh yeah, that's pretty easy.
Anyways,
So that was a $200 battle. I think that they actually upped the stakes for that one.
Yeah,
Which
is good. It's nice to see big money, people putting their money where their mouth is. That's a big thing.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, Don lived up to his name. Don
Yeah,
Bobbies.
he did a good job. There's no doubt about it.
I don't think it was hard. I thought he had a good opponent in the.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think stylistically, it was almost like you just beat him up a little bit. It felt like that a little bit. Shout out to Anubis. I mean, the kid's like, he had a lot of confidence,
That's
but I
right.
think like he was just kind of like, you know, bouncing around and doing his thing, and Don was there like just to choke him out and smother him with a pillow, and he just bodied him.
Yeah.
But I mean, Don's, you know, there's probably a lot of people that want to come for Don's spot at like the headline position.
Well, I want to see Dawn versus Complex too.
I'd
Because
like
I feel
to see
like
that.
both of their
I'd
performances
like
are
to,
quite
those two
strong.
matches. I'd like to see them kind of like switch for another.
Exactly,
event,
me
is to
too.
see Narco and Anubis.
Narco and
I'd like to
Anubis,
see what
and
that
then
looks
Dawn
like.
and Complex.
Yeah, I think Complex would be a good opponent for Don.
Me too. Because both of them have that performance aspect. And, like, their writing's pretty strong. Like, there's no doubt about it. It could improve in some areas. I'm not going to say that it can't. But, like, it's pretty strong as is.
Yeah.
So, because their performance is so strong and they have so much of that swag, it's difficult to see who will control the room in that situation.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of like you stylistic, you know, styles make fights, right? And that's the thing that happens with a lot of this stuff. Not that anybody's bad, because everybody's got their own shit that they're bringing to the table. It's just some of these styles definitely make fights. And in this one, like I said, Anubis, he was good. He had a couple nice bars. Like I said, he was good. They're not taking anything away from him, but. Yeah.
Well, he did a bit of research too, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
You know, he had some research within his bars, but he didn't have as many punchlines for those research areas that I would have liked to see. And he didn't rap about the mask, which everybody in the room would have seen Don have. He didn't rap about the fact that Don was dressing for a job interview, you know, which everybody in the room could also see, so it would have hit a little harder, right?
He's got bars for Don already. No, I'm just joking. Like I think
We're gonna have
no, but I
we're gonna
do
walk
think.
down right
Yeah,
now.
we'll see,
Coming
we'll
for
see.
you, Dawn.
I do think, like I said, Don's like he's got a character that he plays in there, which is cool.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah,
You
I like
the
that.
Roman things. It's like
But it makes it more interesting to see someone battle that because they
But
have
that's
so
pure
much to go
performance,
on,
right? And that's
you
the
know?
thing. And at the end of the day, I do respect my man for doing like the research and doing this and that because I do think
Yeah.
that's important
Yeah.
to come with stuff that's like personal or whatever, blah blah blah. But you gotta watch like I do think there's a line of like creative to corny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
like,
agree,
everything turns into a punchline, and you're like, "Oh, I got this sick bar because I made a pun in it." And it's like the thing. It's like, yo, you can flip anything. Bro.
There's a
You know?
difference between a pun and a punch. You know?
Yeah, 100%. And like
Yeah.
some of these guys that they got to figure out how to set up and then land like the real heavy shot or like take the pause to like let it resonate because I think like again the style makes the fight, but some of these guys could adapt their style to become better quote unquote fighters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not like there was anybody that I was like, oh, this guy is gonna have a real hard time. A lot of people I was just like, oh man, little tweaks here, little and
Yeah.
he was someone that I think. Doesn't necessarily need to start wearing leather gloves to the battle, but if Anubis like kind of took away from the battle something from Don, he probably will become a better performer. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Is that
100%.
fair?
Maybe. I feel like, yeah, he can learn from battling Don, but they're so different rappers that it's difficult to look at Don's style and say that's the best person to learn from for Anubis.
Oh, I feel like
It'd be better to look at somebody else completely for Anubis and say, hey, this is kind of like mine, but his punches are hitting, so I should check that guy out and see what he's doing rather than Don, who has his own style. Right?
In a way, I think you got to learn from everything, right? You got to take
Yeah, a little bit from everyone, but there's a way to do it most efficiently.
If all you do is take the L and you don't learn anything from it, it's like that's a waste of
Yeah,
time.
yeah, you're right.
I mean?
100%.
So I don't think he needs to start doing it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he
Hell
needs
is for learning.
Yeah, exactly. my man.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't think he needs to start doing like Body's impression. That's not the point. I don't think he needs to start changing his shit up. But obviously, you have to adapt. You have to grow. If you keep coming with the same move every time, someone's just gonna swat the ball out of your hand because they're gonna figure your shit out, right? And these guys need to adapt because if they're the exact same that they were in their next battle, whoever's preparing for them is gonna be able to tear them apart.
Yeah.
So if they're like, yo, you don't even do this and don't look someone in the face and blah blah blah, and all your punchlines are corny and blah blah blah, and this guy's like now adapting into some shit where he's like boom 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 and throwing shots and the crowd's like none of that works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to stay ahead of the curve. You got to stay ahead of yourself. I hope everyone learns from this first event, like from us as judges.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So, but he was better, I guess, than I thought. I initially I thought it was just going to be what it was, a bodying, but I'll give him credit. He had a couple nice.
And Don Bodies wasn't just performance. He has a lot of good bars, and the schemes impressed me. Like some of the schemes that I used were fantastic.
I think it was I wanted to see more resistance, to Don, so that he leveled up. It's nothing but it seemed like what I expected. It was a little bit. It's like I don't really tune in for a fight or battle, and it goes kind of how you think it's gonna go, almost blow for blow.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
fair. That's fair.
Anubis put up some stuff, but it's sort of what I thought.
Exactly.
It just kind of was a little bit too much what I thought it would be without
100%.
watching it.
And
I don't know how to say that. It's not a criticism against Don. It just was like, it was a bit easy, and I could see it was easy. And I feel like maybe that weakens him. Like, I hope next time he battles, I see something new from him.
And I think
because that would be like, there's another head to this dragon.
I think that's kind of what you were saying, where like always dressed like for the interview and blah blah blah. Like where he plays this character, like the character is going to be something that he didn't really pick the character apart. He just had a couple bars and was throwing his little jabs. But if you really went hard at Don, there is some stuff that if he doesn't grow the same way that Anubis needs to grow, whoever gets Don next could
There's just so many schemes.
start pulling some
It's
stuff.
endless.
There's some strings, and I guess like it's when if you watch sports, right? Someone comes out, they're hot on the scene. The more tape there is on an opponent, the easier it is to start breaking them down. Right?
I was just thinking the same thing. I was
if
like,
you start seeing it,
2-0.
right? And that's the thing. But he's 2-0, and people go, okay, what's working? How do I counter that? And that's the thing. These, like you said, he wasn't really working against Don's style, or you said that. I think 100%. That was. Don went at him doing Don things, and he was just trying to do Anubis things. But if he had actually really went like anti-Don, he could have done a lot more.
It's a good way to put it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I like that, yeah.
Sort of like I was watching a guy spar and not fight.
Yeah,
And I don't know why. I don't know. It was Anubis was back on his heels like from before it started.
Well,
which I can understand.
100%. Don's
I mean,
imposing.
shit,
Yeah, it's one of the battles too that I watched, and I was like, because of the schemes that Don was using, you could have had some room-shaking rebuttals. You know what I mean? Like opening
Why do you
up with
think
that.
there's this lack of rebuttals across what we've
That's a
seen?
great
Well,
question.
to be honest, I think that's the same reason why a lot of these guys aren't looking at their opponents in the face. They're not doing certain things because to them they're like trying to remember their shit.
I think it's because it's off the script. You know what I mean?
Well, and
that's
they're trying to
difficult
remember
for
their shit.
of
I think a
people,
lot of
yeah.
these dudes, to be 100%, they're not.
But-
this isn't like battle 30, 40 under the lights with the cameras, with audience, people drinking, smoking, whatever. Like that's a pressure moment for a lot of
Definitely.
people, and I think like a lot of them are just like, don't fuck up, Jerry, or whatever their names are. You know what I mean? Like they're just
Jerry,
that's what
they're just like they're just like locked in.
Critical
I don't know what the real name is. I don't know what
It's a
Narco
critical
Skeptic's real
voice.
name is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But like he was probably just like, yo,
I think
bro,
it's Jerry.
boom, 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 nailed it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like I think they're just making sure they don't fuck up. And one thing that I will say,
So practice rebuttals.
this is
Yeah.
this is actually super important, and this goes for a couple of the battles because there were times that people fucked up. Don't say that you fucked up. Every person, like Complex, forgot something and he was like off the top, and I was like, oh, see, shouldn't have said it. With his style, the way that he just delivers like this, if he had just kept going, no one would even know. Other people, I can't remember. There was a couple other people that said, "Oh, I fucked up. Now I'm just freestyling because I fucked up and I didn't know my shit." Don't say that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Never
you know,
say you fucked up. Like
Don't do
under
that.
any circumstance, just keep going.
That's because the performance element of it is so important. And in a fight, you can't show that, you know, they're out of that fight for any moment. Because everyone, as soon as
Yeah.
people see that, they go, oh, and it's like, it hurts, right? So you can't,
Yeah.
don't, I think the rebuttals it's because it's part of the same thing. You know, people are just trying to make sure that their performance is so tight.
Yeah.
But you got to understand that the best way to have a good performance is to be in the moment.
Do you want to give an
Right.
example rebuttal for that battle?
Which
battle?
battle?
Let's say the Don Bodies battle.
Oh, see, he's got a couple.
No,
You know,
no, I know. I
think we gotta set it.
I
Is
that.
there like a comment thread on
mean?
this? Is there a comment thread? If like you gotta like if you like you go, we got like an emoji.
You can do the rebuttals.
Like
Yeah,
if
read the
judges
comments.
like the scales. If you want to see like Don Bodies with the judge with the I don't know like what do we got to do with the I don't know. We got to set it up.
There we go.
No, I was gonna say we got to put we got to do like a poll or something if the people want to see this battle because I feel like my man's definitely got.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Not for Don Bodies specifically, but whenever I see a battle,
that question.
yeah, whenever I see a battle,
Yeah,
in my own notebook, I'm
here.
also writing down rebuttals. You know what I mean? Like I'm always thinking, if this was me and I was on the round, what would I have said? You know, and that makes you a tighter rider overall. Because that way, if it ever comes up again or anything similar, then you're able to roll with it.
I think you guys got to practice your freestyle straight up.
I know, and that's
That'll make you be able to rebut. You got to be able to think of something quickly and make it work. And practice it. It's
And
not
it doesn't
just
have
that
to be 4 bars. Like
practice
it can
for
even be
shit.
2 bars, and it could shake.
And
the
being able
ball.
to freestyle, make it round out when you have a part of your performance that just didn't work or slowed down or went faster than you thought. You'll be able to move that because
For sure.
you're not so stuck in just
you have
performing.
to be aware of.
You're not
the
at home
fact.
by yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing because like practice makes what, right?
I don't know.
Good rappers.
No.
No practice makes perfect. I got you.
No.
Are we
No,
really
hold on.
talking about
No, I was gonna say no because practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And like my man said, if you're just
sorry.
practicing it by yourself alone in your house,
That's
you're just
just
gonna get it.
masturbation.
That's like all these rappers are. A lot of them are doing it like this because they're used to just like looking at a paper or their
That's
phone
right.
in their house. Practice with like friends. Practice with something where say something back and then be like, cool. I'm gonna practice where the first 2 bars in my round. I'm gonna say something off the top. Like practice that into it. You have to be aware of these
Rebut
things.
the news.
Yeah, it's not gonna be know that you're not just there to rap your 3 verses. You are, but you're also there to beat whoever's your opponent is, right? And if they're 3,
Yeah.
because that's the thing, that could be the only difference. If your 3 and their 3 are like actually neck and neck, like you guys are really at each other, the difference could just be that you edged out one thing that they said back and it flipped
That's right.
it, and that just changes how
And the
everyone
crowd
sees it, right?
fucking loves it when that happens, right? Like I even said when I was judging that in the complex battle, I would have rebutted the fact that he didn't come with money, and like that would have been a trigger.
Rebuttals are so important because they make the people feel special.
100%.
Because that is for them. They just heard that and they're like, oh fuck. They just said that. You didn't know that before. Neither
Yeah,
did I.
right.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is live. This is real. I'm in the room.
It shows
Not, I'm watching the guy.
It shows a huge
Just
level
done
of
100
talent
takes,
too.
whatever.
Exactly. And what I see a lot in some of these major battle raps is it's not always a rebuttal to what they said. Sometimes it's a rebuttal to what they look like that specific night.
Sure.
Which people also love to
Just
see.
do something
Just
live,
something
right?
you know is
and,
fresh.
and like I said,
Over.
practice doesn't make perfect; it makes permanent. So how you practice this thing is how it's going to come out. So make sure you do it with energy. You do it live. You do it while you're looking someone in the face. Maybe like you're rapping to your friend, and you do pick apart like the shirt that he's wearing when you start your round. Try and just be aware in that moment that you're going to come out in front of a bunch of people, and it's going to get taped, and you're going to have to like throw up, some serious shit because it's only going to get better. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of these battles were really good, but also there was a lot of room for improvement for a lot of people. And at the end of the day, there's always shit to critique. So it's not like again, shout out to everybody for like getting in there.
And at the end of the day, like if every bar was rated from 1 to a 10, you basically get like 3 extra points on a bar if it's a rebuttal.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like just for the effect of the room.
And that's why I said like Jim West for me, that was a huge.
Yeah, I
thing.
like
he
that.
was the only one that each round he said something about what she said before.
Yeah.
And took away some of the lines that like as I'm taking note, I was like, oh, that was dope. Like he like specifically counted it. So like in that thing, it's the neck and neck starts going back his way, right? It's a big thing, guys. At the end of the day, and again, these are judge battles. If it's someone who's judging who doesn't give a shit about rebuttals, and all he wants to see is like crazy punchlines or like domination or aggressiveness, like. I like I said, for me, I really like listening to the shit. You're not going to go over my head,
Strictly good, right?
And everyone's
I don't get enough of them,
right? Everyone's got their own kind of categories that they're looking for, and again, I think that as the judging goes on, or as the battles go on, we'll get to see kind of. It's kind of like you see a ref crew. Again, it's a lot with sports, right? You see certain refs, you're like, oh, they're going to call a lot of this, and they're going to let a lot of this go, right?
But don't cater to the judge that you're at it for, you know what I mean?
No, for
sure. I'm saying, like, overall should be performance, like, you gotta get the writtens, performance, stylistic, good bars, punchlines, you have to have the cadence, you wanna make sure that you're looking at your opponent for one thing, you gotta make sure that you got the rebuttals, it's all of those combined.
Yeah. Well, and again, it is a performance art, right? So there's a lot of different variations on it, but, at the end of the day, there was also a different type of art. A martial art. An expedition. About between Chell and Joey Bones.
That was interesting.
It was interesting. I was supposed to judge that. I don't know why or how. It was an entertaining fight, to say the least, right? What do you guys think about the fight?
I just want to say I was impressed with Chell's appearance of boxing training.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
I was like, this man has practiced boxing.
Yeah. He did put in a lot of work.
It was evident. It was
yeah.
like, oh look, he looks like a boxer.
Now, one thing that the people do want to know is, was it a bathing suit that Chow was wearing? What was Chow wearing? Was it a bathing suit?
I can't confirm.
It was a bathing suit. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, my man looked like
data department is real quick. Shout out to the data team. They researched that. Really
okay, the judges.
Turns out it was.
The judges wanted to know. I was just looking because I was like, all right, my man looks like he's ready to fight, but I was like, he also looks like he just walked straight out like the hot tub or something.
It's just blood.
You want to fight this guy? All right, bro, let's go.
Blood comes out of like swim shorts really well.
But it was an entertaining fight. Props to both them for actually getting in there. There's a lot of people that have a lot of stuff to say online about the battlers or the fighters. At the end of the day, guys, this is one, it's entertainment, but two, it takes a lot of nuts to get up there and do that. So,
yeah, it does. For anyone to step in the ring.
Sure.
Yeah, it's all for fun. These guys hopefully don't like hate each other, and there's no bad blood anymore. Like the battlers all get along. We all do this because it's fun and we enjoy like the art and like the sport of it. But like, shout out to those dudes for actually getting in there and doing it. Again, anyone that's talking about it, there's a lot of people that have said it, and I've seen Joey Bones try and stick up for himself. So I just want to say on the podcast, if you're listening to this. Man, that was some ballsy shit from both of these dudes, and I respect them. I think we all respect them. We won't be doing the call out fights anymore. I think that's like a thing for like the next event. So
yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
And I'll say specific props to each. Like props to Joey for getting in the ring with someone that much bigger than you, and props to Chell because Chell had way more to lose by getting in the ring with someone smaller than him. You know what I mean?
A maniac that's smaller than him.
A maniac that's smaller than him.
No one knew what that kid was gonna do, and it was.
Chell handled him pretty.
Yeah, he did.
That was
look, and like I said, Chell got 2 dubs that night, so hopefully he like walks away and is like,
I didn't want to say it earlier, but when I was watching Chell in the beginning, I thought if I had to fight later, I might be distracted on this new guy from one round.
100%.
Because he was also bouncing around like he was ready to fight.
Yeah.
So I think it was part of the whole movement. Like, he was going through the...
Yeah.
As soon as they both got the ring,
Well, like, what's more important? Like, some guy rapping at you for like 90 seconds? Or like some dude from, like, some drunk animal from Yarmouth trying to rip your face off.
But how of a matchup, though? Because, like, as soon as both of them stepped into the ring, stepped into the ring and, like, got their shirt off and already and stuff, I definitely whipped out my wallet. I was like, there's no way I'm not betting on this.
Yeah. It was intense.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
If
that type of thing was tolerated, then I might have done something like that.
I don't believe there's any fights scheduled for the next event. Is that true? There's no fights, so.
Yeah. But we do want to talk about the next event, right?
Yeah.
There is another event.
So first thing we want to mention is the money deadline, which is February 8th.
February 8th.
The event is on the 29th.
Yeah.
gives you full 3 weeks to pay back whoever you borrowed it from,
Yeah.
and get your motherfucking money up.
Yeah, no exceptions, guys. This is the thing. There was a guy that didn't show up to his battle last, like I said, and he's out of the league.
Yeah.
We've already had our one guy that was like, "Oh, I didn't know." I think everyone knows. There's some big money on the line.
Coming up.
If I'm
$500 for one of these battles.
Yeah.
It's
So
like, there are 2 fights we were going to talk about. Like coming up, 2 battles are coming up. Right? That
Yep.
we're going to preview. Mention them.
I guess those are like the highlights. There's a lot. There's at least 5 or 6 on the card. So it's going to be another really good event. Again, Spyfield Boxing Academy. Everyone come out. It's a great time.
It really is.
It was super chill. Everyone had a good time. There was like food and stuff. There's like
Yeah.
literally a pizza restaurant right next door, but there's like snacks in the venue.
Yeah.
People were chilling. Respect, BYOB also like keep everything low-ski doski, but it was very good.
There's a little bar too.
There was what?
There's a little bar.
There's a little bar. There's a little bar.
Cash bar.
Cash bar, I didn't know how far we were going with the thing, but yeah, like I said, everyone's got to be respectful. But like, there's a cash bar. You can come live your life. It's like it's a chill, very Scotian atmosphere. Come out. But yeah, it's going to be a good time for sure. Like I said, who wants to start? What's the?
I'll go with the smaller money one we're going to bet, but still good. Is a $100 battle. Is Zays versus Daly. I don't know Daly. I've seen the Zays battle.
Yeah.
He's good.
No,
I'm not going to get way into that right now. But does anybody know Daly? I don't know Daly.
I don't know Daily
I don't know
either.
Daly,
Is
no.
this $100 each?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
And
this
that
is a,
listed is
$200.
okay, so it's a $200 winner gets the 2 bills. So each man's putting up 100 on his skill.
All right.
So whoever Daly is, he must be confident.
Must be.
Right?
Yeah.
Again, we have a lot of people on the card, but
Aziz has a lot of battles under his belt. I think he said
Yeah.
he was up to 20 or something online.
Yeah.
which I don't know what his record is.
I don't know what his
You know
record
what his
is,
record
but
He's got
he
20.
always comes prepared. That's one.
He's got 20.
Yeah.
No shots, bro. But yeah, just I wanted to know if
These two are both lining up people.
There's a big
I love
difference.
it.
Oh no, I'm just asking. But no,
I feel the record will
he's
stand
good.
Yeah, you're right. So Aziz is
stand
battling
judge.
this guy next time. That's how it goes.
Aziz
Lies
versus
a lot.
Daly, who I guess again no one knows, but is Daly from Nova Scotia? He's from here.
I think he's from Pictou.
He's from
New
Pictou.
fella. He was at the event, enjoyed himself, wanted to give it a shot.
Oh, he was
Okay.
out.
He
Okay.
raps, and
Okay.
I think
Hope he doesn't get
might
shut
be a
down like Northern
producer.
Pulp.
Okay, cool.
So there's a lot of actual I guess first time battlers
Yeah.
that are like rap artists
What?
on this card. I think
There's
that's
not a line about that.
I think that's like a thing that we kind of. There's definitely like Joey Bones is battling again. Bombay's battling again. He was in the first event. Mars, who's down with Complex. Like I mean, there's a lot of like battles here, but there's also some guys that I guess are more known on like the hip hop side. I think that or do like stuff on the radio or this is their first step into the ring. So the highlight fight of the night is you can break this one down.
Oh,
if you
for
want.
Kid Coffin versus Riggedy?
Yeah.
I don't want to break it down too much because I haven't seen Riggedy battle as much, but Kid Coffin's been coming stronger every time that he battles. Like the very first time I saw him battle, I think it was his first one, so I don't have too much to say about that.
Okay.
But his more recent ones, like as a previous league was starting to shut down, he was just starting to ramp up.
And I guess like this Riggedy Carmichael, he's a guy that's more, I guess, just as an artist. I don't think this is what I've heard is that he hasn't battled before. But these guys are each putting up $500.
They're putting up a lot of money, so they got to be confident.
So that's a $1,000 battle. So we got a $1,000 battle. We got a $200 battle. That's right out the gate. A good chunk of change. Plus
Yeah.
with the other battles.
Yeah.
There's still maybe some opening on the cards too.
Yeah.
People can up the bets. There's always side bets too. So make sure not only do the battlers have your money, but like if you come to the event, make sure you have some cash from your side. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of money changing hands on the 29th. So that's definitely going to be a dope event. I assume there'll be another live stream. So if you're not in the Halifax area for any reason and you can't make it, definitely tune in.
It's on ufam.com.
Yeah.
That's right. It's on ufam.com.
Just bookmark that shit.
Yeah, and there's also merch. Like we got T-shirts down at the venue and stuff. They're pretty fly. You probably saw.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
we do?
Not yet. No.
No,
No. Hopefully for the
Secrets?
next one
I was going
though.
to say if judges.
not for the 29th.
I'm hoping I'll have them for the 29th.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
mean. For the 29th.
We should have them,
Yeah. There'll probably be some T-shirts. There'll probably be some dope shit.
I'll buy a Judge t-shirt if they exist yet.
We can look at that. Yeah.
We'll get
Dope,
it.
sounds good.
Okay.
Alright,
Put that on.
Focus, yeah.
Put that on the company
Yeah.
expense account. But look, there's no fights, but there's going to be a lot of dope battles.
Yeah, we know some of the
again,
other performers too. Like Drop is going to be on the card.
Mhm.
Drop. One thing that I'll say is like, we enjoy seeing you and your pops doing some of those reviews of the battles before they come out. So keep up with that.
Yeah, shout out to the community. Like I said,
Yeah.
the thing about the Elements League, I think like we're probably still like pretty decent on time, but like this started off just from a couple dudes kind of jawing at each other, and people saying, "All right, well, put your money where your mouth is," then,
And then they
kinda,
did it, yeah.
kind of grew really organically, and it's one of those things that the hip hop community, I guess, across the world now. Is like a structured battle league where people know who they're going to battle and they write and they perform, and it's like this. That's like a worldwide phenomenon, but it started here. So shout out to Reed and everyone that was around at the beginning.
Absolutely.
Shout out to everyone that's back around now. It's really dope just to see, like I said, this stuff kind of coming together. The first event was super dope. I think everyone had a good time. Like I said.
Yeah, people are still talking about it. You'll see tons of stuff online about people talking about the specific battles of this event and the breakdown of some of the bars. So it's nice to see it continuously flowing, right?
100%.
People have a lot to say.
No, and like I said, at the end of the day, this is a community thing. So if you guys have different opinions, we'd love to hear them. Write comments, set up more battles, do whatever.
And if you love this or hate this, share this. Okay,
Yeah.
because it helps us. If you love us, share it. It gets us further, it grows it, makes it stronger. If you hate it, do it too, because it works that way.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody. Like I said,
Algorithms, motherfucker.
yeah. At the end of the day, like we said, it's on ufam.com. The Instagram is it's on ufam. It's on ufam. I don't think we got a Twitter yet, but like you can check.
It'll be on UFam.
It's all the social medias. Look us up.
UFam, we're everywhere.
It's on ufam everywhere.
Twitter, Instagram, the Elements
Radio.
League on Facebook.
Elements League still on Facebook. Like I said, that's where it started. This was like the first episode of TEL Talks. There's going to be a bunch of people coming in and through and doing different stuff. It won't always be us.
Yeah.
We'll have some battlers coming through and doing interviews. Maybe do some, previews themselves about what they're, working on for like the battles coming up. So let us know what you guys want to see. Do you want to see more of like us talking about battles? Do you want to see more about people that's coming up? It's like I said, this is something that we're doing together. So hopefully,
If you want to see us do like a cooking show and shit,
yeah, 100%.
cannabis infused.
Hell yeah, bro! If
We
we,
roast some hams between roasting some battlers, right? That's how we do.
if we actually start a weed cooking show, I'm about that life. That's a different story.
Cut
But look,
the camera.
look,
Yeah.
we're gonna be out of here. Thanks for watching. Like I said, share us. It's on you.
Shout out to you motherfuckers right here. Shout out to East Coast Kicks again.
Look us up. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, thanks.
Byfield Boxing
Thanks for letting us
Academy.
East Coast Kicks, Classic Souls.
Classic Soul.
Definitely,
Check it
guys. Like I said, this is Halifax at its finest, Nova Scotia's at its finest. Like I said, February 29th. We'll see you next time. I won't be there. I'm going to be in Mexico, but I'm going to watch the stream. So I'll check you guys. And like I said, at the end of the day, I want to see some good shit. Hold it down, and catch you
It's
next
on
time.
you, fam.
You all set?
Gotta give him that bullet point. Gotta give him that. Stop these mics. Stop these mics. Stop these mics. Ding, bong, ding. That was really good, by the way, time-wise.